What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's blank game week 28. The game week everybody has been fearing, but for no actual reason at all. So, your nightmares are here, and we're ready to talk about them. But before we get into that, and we start talking about transfers, captains, and show you our teams, and give you the ideas that we have for our teams, I got my man Doc here. Doc, what's up?
Hey Joe, I'm glad you're back. Last episode I was doing it solo. It still feels weird to look at the camera and just chat. It's nice to have you back. Some terrible FPL takes, maybe 3 hours discussion about Madison, an American accent. It's nice to have you back.
I mean, Madison just deserves better. That's all. That's all. And nobody respects him. He's like Kane of the midfield.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that. I see that. And you will be happy to know that I'll be on your side this episode.
Of course, everybody is. Everybody is. All right, Doc. So let's jump into it. All right. People that managers should look to transfer in. Who are you thinking?
Madison, thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
I think many people are targeting bringing in Watkins.
Eh,
So Watkins, he's playing Bournemouth at
eh,
home and then two away fixtures, which are not nice, but he's playing very well away.
eh.
He's on 4 goals in a row in 4 games in a row. So he's in form, playing a terrible defense who kept a clean sheet versus Liverpool. This season has been crazy. It's very unpredictable. It's always been unpredictable, but this season is another level. So I would like to shout out Watkins. A lot of people are looking at Chilwell, and a lot of people are looking at Madison.
Yeah. Madison's probably your best option there. Um, Because let's be honest, all right, what are people doing in the forward spots, right? They're selling Holland to then maybe pick Holland back up, or maybe just copycat what Andy said the last 3 weeks and pick up Holland back around game week 34 or something like that when everything's better. Okay, let's think about this because this season's been extremely hard. When was the last time we saw something like that? You know what? People were selling Kane after he was super consistent and was scoring and went on a run. And they sold him for like Tony and Ferguson and all these people.
Of
And then he
course, I
crushed
remember
it.
that one. Yeah.
And then they were like, oh my gosh, wow, Kane can score. Kane is like the second highest scorer in the game right now. Only because Holland has gotten 15 hat tricks throughout the season. I understand that people
Absolutely.
might use their free to bring Holland back in. Cool, that's fine if your team is so perfect that you don't need to do anything else. Great. But I feel like you're going to be punished. Obviously, it's a blank game week. He's not going to get any points this game week. But still, it feels very punishy. And I think people are expecting too much. And
Yeah, it
now,
does. It looks.
oh, go on, go on, go on.
Sorry to interrupt. It does, and it looks scary because this is one of my transfers, and Haaland is playing Liverpool next game week,
Oh, he'll
and
kill him.
he at home. Yeah,
77
absolutely. Like I
points.
can see, I can absolutely see a hat trick minimum in that game. But in the meantime, Watkins plays 3 games. Meanwhile, so you would hope that Watkins scores a hat trick in 3 games, and Haaland scores a hat trick in 1 game, and you are kind of on the break even. So it's not a straightforward decision, but you would like to back a double.
No, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Sorry. Sorry. And then the other thing, this whole Chilwell idea that everybody has. I love Chilwell. I think he's awesome. I have him all the time over Reece James. But people are just sad that Reece James is doing what Reece James has done for the last 6 seasons. And they're like, maybe we should find a different defender out of Chelsea to pick up. And they're going to Chilwell. Chilwell's been injured also for like 3/4 of the season so far. Yes, he had like a good run, and then I think he had like league play he did really well in too. They have some easy fixtures. I don't I don't know. I don't just you could get any defender and probably get almost the same points in that Chelsea defense because let's be honest, the Chelsea defenders last year were the whole attack. This year, Chelsea doesn't have an attack. So there are no attacking points to be had there. That's my thoughts. Madison Madison is off and on, but unfortunately Madison does the job of his other 10 teammates. So you know what you're getting into when you get Madison. He's either going to get a goal and an assist, or his teammates are going to let him down, and he should have just dribbled through everybody and done a Messi anyways. That's my thoughts on the transfers. I don't think there's great transfers to be had. You'll see when we talk about my team. My team's kind of like, yeah, I could do 2 transfers, I could do 6 transfers, but none of them feel amazing. Doc, there you go. There's my comments. All right, I'll see you next
Absolutely.
episode, man.
Couple of points to take from there. Yes, I'm in the same situation. I can do 1 transfer and I can do 3 transfers. So it's kind of a is a in my team reveal. I'll actually discuss exactly what I'm thinking and what I'm probably gonna go for. I should mention the second point is Chilwell is the most transferred in player for this round at the point of recording. So at this point of recording, Chilwell is the most transferred in player. Funnily, following that is Watkins, Harry Kane, and close to Harry Kane is Almiron, and that is followed by Madison. So a lot of people are bringing in Almiron. He has a fixture this game week against Nottingham Forest. So I see a goal, I see a point of that transfer. All of those transfers, I think they are good. Like I can see 2 clean sheets, despite that what you mentioned, 2 clean sheets for Chelsea in the next 4 games, which is 3 game weeks. Havertz is an option. Joao Felix is an option. I think you cannot really go much wrong with your transfers this game week if you're targeting Watkins, Kane, maybe Almiron, Madison, and Chilwell. Of course, if you don't have Trippier, I don't know what you're doing. You're playing the game wrong. This is something Joe would say. But yeah, I think those are the transfers that you should kind of look at.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the fact Kane is like what number 3 on the transfers, like that's ridiculous. All you made
It's
wrong
not,
decisions.
but it's not far. I think it's for the people who haven't wildcarded. So when you and I wildcarded together, we just brought in Kane. You had
No,
Kane
no, no, no,
anyways.
no, no. I was going
But
to say I
yeah,
had Kane. No,
yeah,
I did not bring in Kane. I brought him in at the
yeah. But
beginning of
most
the season. That was it.
yeah. Majority of the people who brought him in on a wild card and other people who didn't have him, I think they're bringing him in now for Haaland, and this is what's going on. So people are transferring in Haaland for Watkins or and Kane. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, honestly, like you said, doesn't really matter too much on your transfers. There's not like one standout one. It's because everybody is chasing points. Almiron just scored. He hasn't scored in 6 game weeks. Everybody's like, oh my God, he's back. Scored a goal. That happens. Almiron used to do that once every season for the last 5 seasons. And now everybody's like, snap, because he did great at the beginning of the season. And I've spoken on everybody else. Doc, before my blood pressure gets up and they got to rush me to the hospital, let's talk about captaincy. What are some good captains that you see out there?
for me it's between Kane and Saka, and it's an absolute 50-50 decision. If you want to play EO, as we saw, Kane is highly, extremely owned, and everybody's getting him in now. All the polls on Twitter show that he's going to be the favorite captaincy. If you want to play kind of risk-free type of strategy, just go for Kane. If you want a bit of a riskier when it comes to EO, go for Saka. It's a 50-50 decision. I sent you my team last night, and the captaincy was on Kane. At the moment of this recording, it's actually on Saka, so it's a 50-50 decision. The stats are the same. Like I looked at the last 6, Kane has slightly higher XGI, but Saka has almost double the touches in the box than Kane, so Kane is dropping a bit deeper. BPS baseline, Saka is a bit higher. He gets a clean sheet point. He's a midfielder, so he gets an extra goal point. Kane has more goal attempts. So it's like a 50-50 decision, literally down the line. I would say go for a gut feeling. I'm going to do probably captaincy roulette When you just move captaincy, save team until the deadline, it's that 50-50 for me. I'm leaning Saka because he has slightly a bit more avenues to points. He takes some corners to assist potential here and there. He's on penalties. He's cheaper, the extra point. I'm probably leaning Saka. I would say 51% Saka, 49% Kane.
We'll take all those stats, throw them away, because I have three captaincy choices here. You got one of them, Kane, right? Okay, so Southampton, they're looking horrible. Their interim manager is not doing it. There's been no new manager bump. There's been a new manager fall, I guess. I don't know what the opposite is of it. Just a manager, I guess. Yeah, Kane seems perfect. You want something safe, you can go with Kane. I right now have it on Kane. I'm a Spurs fan. Kane's been crushing it. Makes sense to me. The next one is my good old shout out that Doc loves. Tony. He's playing Leicester. Leicester have looked like crap. They're not doing very well at all. Tony's on 15 goals this year and could have probably gotten one or two more yesterday. So Tony looks like a prime candidate for captaincy, especially against that Leicester defense that was good at one point, but now looks in shambles. And I will give you an Arsenal player, but it's a guy that nobody has. Trossard. Looks like everything is running through Trossard right now. The man has gotten, I think, 7 assists or something like that in the last, 4 or 6 game weeks. I don't know. At least it feels like 7 assists. It's a player that I actually would prefer to have in my team rather than Martinelli. Saka, probably over Saka right now. Saka's been getting into great positions. His XGI looks great. It's like 0.7 or something like that. But he's not getting those touches the last 2 game weeks that kind of set him up for success for us in FPL. Doc, what do you think about those two crazies?
For a change, I don't think they're absolutely crazy. It's one of those game weeks that you can kind of punt and be on the safe side, especially if you own the other two players. That kind of decreases the effective ownership. So I don't think they're bad shouts. Another reason, like you mentioned, the opponents, and I think both teams will concede. Is just Arsenal are at home, so both teams will concede. I mean, Southampton and Crystal Palace, but Arsenal are playing at home. Crystal Palace are bad defensively away. Majority of their chances, Crystal Palace have been conceded through the Saka side. Yes, for the past couple of weeks, Arsenal have been playing a lot on the left side because Trossard is there, Martinelli is there, and they're kind of having a good link up now. So you're absolutely right, but stats show that Crystal Palace really suffer from that side, from Saka's side. It's a 50-50 decision. It's even 25% decision. So, but I'm probably going to end up. I really like the Tony shout with the penalty. He likes a yellow card. I'd be a bit careful, and he will be suspended from the double game week if he gets his yellow card.
Don't worry about that
I
right
really
now.
like that. Yeah, but I wouldn't worry about it this game week. So I really, really like the Tony shout. Trossard is, like you mentioned, is a bit out there differential, absolutely crazy differential. Most of us already have 3 Arsenal because of the previous game weeks and how they worked. So it's really hard to jump on Arsenal at this game week if you don't have 3 already. So yeah, you're absolutely not wrong. I agree.
Yeah. No, the one thing that I wanted to mention too is if you haven't made your transfers yet, which I hope, unless you were going to get priced out, you haven't made your transfers yet. Don't take Tony out because he got a yellow last game week, right? Don't do that. That's dumb. Don't be afraid of him getting a yellow in a single game week. That's not going to hurt you. You'll get another transfer after this game week, and if he's suspended for the double, you can move him out. Or if you're worried about him getting a yellow in the first game of the double, cool, you can move him out. Don't rush to do it right now. He's, like I said, he's one of the top captaincy picks. Leave him. Just leave him. Don't touch him. He's off limits. He's locked in your team.
What happened to Joe? All of a sudden, you're sensible.
No, see, this is the thing. I am not sensible. The game has made me sound sensible. That's the whole problem here, and everybody's starting to see the light. They're like, "Oh my gosh, Tony! Yeah, he's a great captaincy pick." When I've been shouting him out for the last 2 years, and everybody's been like, "I don't know, he's crazy." Madison, bring him in. Yeah, he's the whole offense. Everybody's like, "No, Vardy is the light. If you don't have Vardy, you're going to lose." Well, now everybody's bringing in Madison. I don't know. I didn't change. Y'all did.
The game is about timing, right? And remember when you brought in Madison, I was like, not yet. And he blanked since then. So the game is all about timing. I can have Kane for 3, 4 game weeks, he blanks, and then when I sell him, he scores because the game is all about timing. So I think with the Madison case, yeah, like it is the right time to bring him in, at least how it looks like. It wasn't the right time 3 weeks ago when he had like away fixtures versus the top teams.
To be fair, it was the right time to bring in Madison. It was not 100% the right time to bring in a player that plays with Leicester players. And we didn't know that until those game weeks were already played. I didn't know
Yeah.
that Barnes was going to shoot it 55 yards in the air and miss 7 times. That was not in the cards.
Yeah, I see your point. Well, there is a high chance now we're probably going to move to my team reveal, and there is a high chance I'm bringing in Madison. So pray for me.
Yep. All right, Doc. Let's slide on over. Bring your team down. Let's get ready to tumble in rank. Doc, how are you doing it with this team? Let the people know what do you got going on in your mind.
So, Joe, when I sent you the team, the captaincy was on Harry Kane. The only thing that changed since then is I moved it to Saka. So the captaincy is on Saka currently, like I mentioned in the captaincy thing. The transfers that I have in my mind are Haaland to Watkins. I wanted to do the transfer earlier because of price changes. So I saw the price changes happening the night that they were going to happen. And I thought of moving, but then I realized that I only lose zero point 0.1 rather than zero point 0.2 because of the price system, how it works. So I decided for more information, basically buying more information, I'm going to sacrifice zero point 0.1 and I'm going to do the transfer after the press conferences, basically. So Watkins coming in for Haaland. The other transfer is I'm probably gonna do. I'm 99% gonna do it, but I'm still debating it. Is Mitoma out, and I'm gonna bring in Madison. This gives me 11 players this game week and a doubler next game week. When I sell Odegaard next game week, he has a single fixture, and I bring back either Mitoma or I prefer McAllister. So it's kind of gaining myself 2 fixtures with one transfer and also in the same time moving Mitoma to McAllister. I really like March. I don't think I'm going to sell March. So it's probably Mitoma. It's against kind of effective ownership idea because Mitoma is much more highly owned than March, but you try to get the points, right? So those are probably the two transfers. So this is one of the options. Those are probably the two transfers I'm going to make. The other option is just do to Watkins for Haaland and just roll the other transfer and just reassess in game week 29. The third option is also take a hit, sell Henry, and bring Chilwell. The reason being is I don't see Henry keeping a clean sheet in the next 3 games or the 2 game weeks, this single game week and the double game week next game week. I see Chilwell keeping at least 2 clean sheets in the next 4 matches, which is the next 3 game weeks, because they have relatively easy run. Is Chilwell going to pay back the -4 basically over Henry in the next 3? Probably yes. But this restricts me from getting Haaland back and Bruno in game week 29. So Haaland in game week 30, Bruno in game week 29, because there is a lot of money being stuck in Chilwell. So it's one of those things that I need to assess. So Chilwell is effectively a -8 rather than a -4. But also it can help me restructure the team. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know how I feel about Watkins. You know how I feel about Holland. There's a whole section for that. If you missed it, bad. You skipped. Go back. It's at the beginning. Henry to Chilwell, maybe. I don't feel confident on that either. Taking out Mitoma to bring in Madison, it's probably not the worst thing that you can do right now. I like Matoma a lot, but I think, especially just for if you do it for 1 week, perfect. If you do it for 2 weeks, maybe. I think it's fine. What you have planned, it's nothing exciting, nothing I approve of, but
It is exciting because I'm taking out a player and I'm bringing back either himself or his teammate. So it's kind of exciting and a bit
no,
kind of frowned
no,
upon in the FPL community if you take out a player and bringing him back.
not for an
It's a waste of
American,
transfer.
not for an American. Don't really care. Whatever.
Definitely not.
No, but I think it's all right. I think you have. I know it's sacrilegious to even speak like this in the FPL community, but I think you have a little bit of buffer because you crushed it this week, 105. It's perfect. If you think about it, you take a -4, that would put you on 101. That's still a great score for this week. I tend to think of those -4s of like, hey, did I, credit myself enough for that? And also, my crazy like risk versus reward. Hey, this is clearly worth it. But that's another conversation that we can have at a different point in time. But I think you can have the leg room there that if you wanted to take a -4, you could. If you wanted to take a -4 next week, you could too, and that would be fine. Yeah. Do it. I don't know how I feel about the captaincy for Saka. He wasn't even in my 3, but you can't captain Trossard. My glowing review of your team. Moving on to my team. Got my team up. There's a couple things that I'm thinking of right now. The current formation is a 5-3-2. Not going to stay that way, I don't think. Initial thoughts are I could use 2 transfers at max is what I'm thinking of doing. One would be taking out March, and my other one, and this is a little crazy, taking out Emerson Royale to bring in Pedro Porro, because I think Porro is much more valuable to the defense right now for Spurs than anybody else. Spurs have fairly all right fixtures. And if the boy gets an assist or two, that's extra points, extra copium. Love it. Let's keep it up. I brought in Emerson Royale originally because he was doing really well. He looked like he was really finally fitting into that role, and those millions of dollars that he spent to become a better defender and a better athlete were paying off finally. And then he got injured, so clearly they didn't pay off enough. He sat on the bench basically, or he came on, got 1 point, and then he sat on the bench the next game. So kind of waiting on the press conferences, see what's said there, but probably leaning towards Pedro Porro. March is the one that I'm not sure about. Not that I'm not sure if I'm going to take him out, because I think he's definitely booked to leave. And I'll get him back next week. So or Matoma or whoever I feel like is going to crush it. It's more who comes in for March. And that's a tough one, because there's not a ton of people that stand out. Like, okay, Bruno Fernandes, love to bring him in for next game week. He blanks. It doesn't help. Was thinking about Ben Rama. West Ham is blanking. That doesn't help. Let's see. Almiron. People are just chasing fixtures that he scored once. Not super convinced about that. Some people brought in Bruno G to be clever.
I think the shout of Almiron is just because of your team structure, right? Because you don't have to waste a transfer that I'm going to waste on Madison. So you have that transfer done and dusted. So if you want to field 11, I think Almiron is almost inevitable. if you know what I mean. Like there are not, like you mentioned, there are not many other options available. Pedro Porro, it's a Joe transfer. I'm not gonna argue it. I would try to avoid it in case Emerson Royal is back. We will know from the press conferences today or tomorrow. Um, if he's back, he'll pose some minutes threat. So I wouldn't really go and chase Pedro Porro, but it's a Joe transfer. Like maybe Chilwell, if it's too boring for you, maybe Reece James. I know you love him so much, so dearly. The way that your team looks, I understand the Porro transfer, and probably it's just Almiron as the other option because everybody else, like you have three Arsenal, so you cannot go to Trossard like you would like to. So yeah, I see the point of the transfers, or you can just do one and not do one, but like make one transfer and roll with the team.
Yeah. My issue with Almiron is he's got Nottingham Forest. Good fixture. United. West Ham, who've been playing well. Brentford, who will, even if Tony does get a yellow, will probably be back. And their defense have been good. And Newcastle are playing away. Then Villa, okay, maybe. Spurs. And then in game week 33, Everton, Southampton, Arsenal, Leeds, Leicester, Chelsea. Doesn't fill me with confidence, really.
You do not have to play him every single game because you're not bench boosting like most of us in game week 29. So you can just bench him if you don't like it
Yeah,
after game week 29.
but I want somebody that's in contention.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I wish you all the luck. It seems like both of us have a decision to make before the deadline. I wonder our viewers what are their transfers at this moment because it's a very interesting moment, especially for people who are bench boosting in game week 29. You're trying to kind of get as many as possible.
I don't know. Bench boost is kind of bogus. Used it last week. I would have gotten 10 points. I lost maybe 4 points. Okay, I saved myself from one of my hits.
You
Chip
say that
sucks.
if I had bench boost, if I had bench boosted last game week, I would have had 26 more points. My bench went absolutely nuts.
Yeah. But that's the problem. The chip doesn't work when you need it to.
Absolutely.
It's people say that the triple captain is the weakest chip, but I actually get points on the triple captain. Like I get more points than 6 by using the triple captain. Like that clearly the bench boost is the worst. The bench boost has the highest ceiling, but it always functions the worst. I stand by that
You know how
statement.
much I hate it. I hate the bench boost. It just restricts you so much.
Yeah.
But with the cheap options that we have this season, it might be good this season. Because before we used to try to find this 3.9 that he has a double game week, who plays for like Bournemouth defense, who are going to concede 7 in the next like 2 games within the double game week, and then you end up with a minus points. But this season we have a lot of cheap options that you can put on the bench who are scoring very well. So this might be different.
Yeah, for sure. All right, everybody. You got all the info. Do with it what you will. Go and make your team a better place. Doc, anything you like to say to the people before we call it an episode?
I would like to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It's free. Drop a thumbs up if you enjoy the content, and we'll see everybody on the next episode.
All right, let's get these points, people. See you next time.